This is the Box Office Podcast. I'm Rebecca Pahle, Deputy Editor at Box Office Pro, the pulse of theatrical exhibition, joined here with Box Office Analyst of Box Office Pro, Chad Kennerk. Chad, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. This is going to be a short and sweet episode this week. Short and sweet, much like the dog I adopted 3 days ago.
That's right.
Which is why I did not get out to the movie theaters, because I was getting to know my new dog, Jenny. So now you have a cat.
I do.
We have respectively the official dog and cat of the Box Office Podcast.
That's right.
And I guess Daniel has the official child of the Box Office Podcast. Her bringing something home from daycare that has him feeling under the weather is why you are not hearing from him today.
But he got an alien storybook for her to read. So
he did. He got the alien children's book. Yeah. I know he wanted to get the Babadook children's book. I don't know, was that like just a really small run or a promotional item? I don't even remember what that was, but I do remember reading it. It was good.
Wow. I didn't realize they even made like an official book.
Yep. There's a movie about how great it is to be a parent.
Yeah.
It's been a pretty slow week at the box office. At the number one spot from Warner Brothers, the second weekend of Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. The actuals that came in are slightly down from the estimates that came in on Sunday. It made $51.3 million domestic, bringing it to a total global cum of $264.2 million. It's a drop kind of in the 53% range here domestically, which is actually pretty solid, but it's an interesting fact that I learned from Max Every reading our weekend box office post here. I didn't realize that the first Beetlejuice had such crazy holds, Chad.
Right. I didn't either. So that was really, interesting to learn. 8 million number one, opening in April of 1988 on 1,000 screens. And then its sophomore frame, 8.66, so it was up 8%.
Going up in the sophomore frame.
In the sophomore frame, yeah.
Geez, and then having mostly under 20% drops for the next 2 and change weeks. Internationally, we've actually had some pretty solid holds for Beetlejuice as well, right?
Yeah, just a 43% drop average there. Peru had a 12% drop. Finland, 17% drop. Poland, down 21%. Holland, down 26%. And Colombia, down 26% as well. And
then a number of other countries as well coming in with like a lower than 50% drop, better than 50%. So, and the international releases for that film are not fully over, because we are looking at the film coming out in Japan on the 27th of September. So with Beetlejuice keeping the number one spot here, we have new release Speak No Evil from Universal, debuting in spot number 2 with 11.3 million domestic, 9.4 million international, for a global cum after one weekend of 20.8 million. It's under what our forecasting was. It doesn't really necessarily seem like an awful take for a movie that, from the trailers, it looks like it's mostly like 6 people in a house. It's not
remake
like it's
of a Danish film, and so it's like,
the sort of mid-budget earner that we need more of. I think we need more across the board, different sorts of movies, different genres, different budget levels, different demographics. And speaking of all the different sorts of types of movie you can have gearing towards different types of demographics and whatnot, coming in at number 4 under Deadpool and Wolverine. Chad, had you heard of this movie, Am I Racist?
No, I had not. So it was a surprise to see it number 4.
Yeah, so it looks like it is the first theatrical release from SDG Releasing. It's a documentary on DEI from some of the people behind the Daily Wire, the very kind of conservative alt-right site there. It got 4.5 million domestic on about 1,500 screens across the weekend. It's pretty much on par with what we've seen in the past from that sort of like genre film. For example, back in 2016, there was the Dinesh D'Souza doc about Hillary Clinton, like Hillary's America, the secret history of the Democratic Party. And when it went wide. It got just over 4 million actually on about 1,200 screens. So took a couple hundred more screens for Am I Racist to make about 500,000 more than that one. Seems like the audience for that particular subgenre of political documentary hasn't really grown all that much. I'll just say I hope everyone who saw that movie ate popcorn.
That's right.
Got the biggest combos.
Yeah, support your theater.
We need a heavy variety of different sorts of films.
We do.
And well, we're not really getting that next weekend, sadly, but we are getting it's the coming week. If you're listening to this on Thursday, some of these might have already come out, but we're having like a really good chunk of event cinema releases, Chad. What's coming out?
Right. So Crunchyroll's doing a one-day release of Trapezium. It's an animated musical. We also have the 10th anniversary re-release of The Babadook, which I think we talked about last week, and it's a film that I think both of us really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
On September 21st, Superman, the Christopher Reeve story from Fathom Events and Warner Brothers.
Fathom, I feel like, has really been killing it lately. For example, with their anniversary re-release of Coraline, they played the trailer for this documentary about Christopher Reeve at CinemaCon, and I think like the entire auditorium was weeping by the end of it.
I certainly was.
Yeah, and this is a partnership with Warner Brothers. They've partnered with Warner Brothers before to do some event cinema releases of, there was a Peter Jackson doc about World War I, the release of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say I definitely can imagine that it's the sort of film that would be successful enough for them to add showtimes down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it does look like it does have additional showtimes on the 25th as well. So if you want to just cry your absolute heart out, check fathomevents.com for more information on that. They also have a 25th anniversary re-release of The Matrix that's coming out this week as well. Again, event cinema, so midweek limited engagement. We have from Trafalgar releasing a K-pop documentary called Jung, Kook, I Am Still. The box office reporting we get from event cinema, it's not always consistent, but I'll definitely be interested to see whatever statistics we do get on the event cinema that's coming out this week, because it's really doing what event cinema is supposed to do, what it always has done. It's filling in some of those spots on the calendar when there's not really much at all coming out. Luckily, we do have a couple things coming out this weekend. Chad, number one performer is probably going to be Transformers 1 from Paramount. What sort of forecast are we looking at for that one?
We're looking at 40 to 50 million opening weekend there. And then we also have another new release this weekend from Lionsgate, Never Let Go. That's the Halle Berry tethering herself and her children to the house post-apocalyptic horror.
It kind of looks like The Watchers came out earlier this year. It was also similar, like woodsy dystopia. It is the time of year for it, I guess. Yes, so we are predicting 40 to 50 million for Transformers 1, which is that's remaining fairly steady in terms of what we had forecasted for that a few weeks back in our long-range forecast. And for Halle Berry's Never Let Go from Lionsgate, we are looking in the $4 to $8 million range here. We haven't gone to the movie theaters respectively last weekend, though you did see Beetlejuice the weekend before that. I wanted to check in, what's the next film you're planning on seeing in theaters?
Yeah, I think, we were talking about Transformers. I think it's going to have some competition from The Wild Robot the following week, which is something that I'm really looking forward to seeing. I mentioned a previous episode that I theater camped this summer, and all of the kids were very excited to see this adaptation of the book. It looks kind of like an Iron Giant, rip your heart out animated film.
Between that and the Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, my goodness. Yeah,
lots of tears in theaters.
So that one's coming out September 27th.
Yeah. 2
wide feature animated releases back to back. Definitely not the typical sort of thing. I'd be definitely curious if anyone listening to this podcast, ask your theater employees, ask your kids, I'm curious to know, after hearing what you said, Chad, about the level of awareness among the kids at your theater camp. I mean, I feel like it could be not to this degree, certainly, but almost like a Five Nights at Freddy's situation where this is something that is maybe a little bit of a bigger deal than
right,
the people.
A little under the radar for us, but actually a big deal for a certain age group. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no one's saying it's not going to get to, I mean, what did Five Nights at Freddy open to like
80 million or something
80
like
million,
that.
going day and date. But it does feel like that could be sort of the latest example of a film that appeals to younger generations, whether that's, young adults who are going to see it, young adults with kids who are taking their kids to see it. I've heard good things about Transformers 1 too, so I definitely...
That 3D footage I thought looked great.
Right. The 3D footage they played at
CinemaCon.
It looked amazing. I mean, the marketing I've seen so far has kind of made it look more for kids, which it is, so that's completely fair. But yeah, I'll be interested to see if the word of mouth on this one gets those debut numbers up, keeps them going despite competition from The Wild Robot. I mean, you can't have too many good movies to see in movie theaters. Right. Just use your subscription cards. Go out.
Yes.
See them both. Bring your families. I'm actually, the next one I'm seeing is also September 27th. It is an event cinema release from our friends over at Cinelife Entertainment. They're the event cinema division of Spotlight Cinema Networks. Have you heard of this Silent Sync series, Chad?
Yeah, a little bit, but I know that you know more than I do, so I would love to hear a little more about it.
Yeah, it's a really cool concept. You can read more about it if you're going to Show East or if you're a subscriber. We have an interview with Josh Frank, the creator of the concept, in our November issue. But it's, how like for decades and decades, people have been like, oh my God, The Wizard of Oz and Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon match up so well.
Yeah.
So this is kind of that concept, but done legally, which is important.
You're right.
Pairing up Nosferatu and the double album from Radiohead. So it's like it's cinephile catnip. It's Gen X catnip.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds great.
Yeah.
I'm in for that.
I'm checking that out. Its New York debut is September 27th. It's having its LA debut this weekend, I believe, at American Cinematheque. I think that's sold out at this point, but if you go to, and I'm going to be real careful to spell this out, it's silent synced, but only one S in the middle. So it's SILENTSYNCED.com. Did I get that right, Chad?
Yeah, I think so.
If you go to that URL, you can see if it's screening anywhere near you. If you're curious about it, yeah, I went to a screening of Nosferatu, like a rep screening of it last year. So I think it's a new tradition for me. I'm just going to go see Nosferatu everywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
this year see it twice because you have Robert Eggert's one coming out.
Yes. I mean, you can't get too much Nosferatu around this time of year, to be honest. Yeah,
it's a short movie. They knew how to keep it succinct back in those days, unless they were G.W. Griffith, and then they did not.
Right.
But that about wraps it up for this episode of the Box Office Podcast. It's a pretty low-key time at the box office as we settle in for spooky season and wait for the buzz of awards season and of all those Thanksgiving, Christmas, holiday releases to come out. Definitely exciting. We have a lot of stuff to look forward to, and hopefully, fingers crossed, in the next couple of weeks when maybe there are not as many films, we will still be having some breakouts, whether that's limited releases, wide releases, or some of the mini event cinema releases that are coming up in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
The Box Office Podcast is co-produced by Box Office Pro, the Box Office Company, and Record Edit Podcast. If you like what you hear, if you want to see pictures of our pets, my dog, Chad's cat, you can reach out to us at any time. Please like, subscribe, share on any podcast channel that you can think of. We really do appreciate it. It helps us to keep doing what we do. So you'll be hearing from us and hopefully Daniel again next week. Thanks so much for listening and have a good one.